Also
Cleo
live.
is alive. What?
I know, right?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. It's usually trauma based. Um, okay, I've paused
Ooh, I
Joe.
see it. 1,000 challenge.
Yeah, I actually finished it.
Ooh.
I
Okay, I've got you
know.
muted here. So now I just need to do the window capture. Cool.
Hello, Bakura. Good to see you. Okay, I got to go. No, that is not the window that I asked for. Where's the Joe window? Joe window is over there. That one can go big. Joe window is there. Can sort of just sit. No, not go big, but sit up there. There you go.
I've got way more windows than I should have over here.
How we doing, everybody? Are we good? So, this whole £1,000 challenge, I found the money to complete it, completely this month.
Woo!
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like people were nice to me this month.
Yeah.
Like aggressively nice. It's weird. Hi, Mini G's mouse. So
I
yeah,
am glad to hear that.
I have wedges of money that need to
That's
go
good.
into the bank, but
I'm
wedges.
still clawing my way out of it's not like I didn't like take out loans or whatever or credit card debt to go on vacation in October, but like
No, but you yeah.
I knocked out most of my savings because it's like I need to get, for one thing, it's like I need a break. I haven't traveled much, and
No,
my
that's
kid
fair.
could have the opportunity to travel, but also, it's like, okay, if I'm going to be making big life decisions about like getting engaged or whatever, it's like it would be good for Badger and I to like travel and experience some of that type of stress and excitement together and make sure we're on the same page
Yeah.
with, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's, I feel like it was money well spent, but I'm definitely clawing my way out of not having savings at the moment.
Yes. Oh, I understand. Now I have savings. I feel a little bit more secure now that I've got this. Well, it's not in the bank, but it will be in the bank starting tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'm very pleased about that. And I finished like 5 weeks early. I'm not going to count it online because it's too much. I can't be asked. But I need to colour in some umbrellas.
Umbrellas, wow.
Umbrellas. I like
Let's
these.
see. Also, real quick, we've got folks popping in the chat, so we're definitely live. We actually clicked the buttons.
We click the buttons. Yes.
So, morning, Vin, Shoken, Tessie, Kindless. Kindless says, "Morning, Joe. How's your coffee? It is good. I put it in the actual
Choo choo.
the hot cup thing. Wait, is it train whistle time?
It's train whistle time. I was doing it quietly because you were talking.
Okay, well,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
we have to celebrate you, though.
But sometimes, Joe, we have to celebrate you.
Well, if you'd like to celebrate Joe, tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat, and we will celebrate me by rotating the camera 1
There you
degree per
go.
dollar.
We also need to celebrate Joe. Thank you, Sven Lu, for the 21-month resub, Sana Stratus for the 17-month resub, Darth Vorfin for the 140 bitties, and Bakura for the clown bitties.
So, in order for Cleo and I to avoid talking about money and business stuff the whole stream, I actually worked on a Christmas gift guide, which I'm holding up on my phone. You can't really see it very well. I guess I could put it here. You still can't see it. I'll have to read it to y'all, or we'll have to discuss these as we go.
Thanks you, Nordicaon, for the 5 community gift subs. That's very much appreciated. But yes, Joe has a Christmas gift guide.
A Christmas gift guide. And I was like, Cleo, I made like I broke down a list of books I recommend into like who would be a good audience for them, who would appreciate them. And Cleo's first question is, what about people who hate books? You know what? I've been thinking about this a lot. I didn't give you the real answer before, Cleo.
Okay.
But
is Joe quiet?
I will say, if you go to like a backpacking store, like for like people that go hiking and stuff. And like it's so stereotypical to like, oh, just buy them socks. But
Tied
like
him up.
I have a few pairs of nice backpacking socks, and when it starts getting cold and wet around here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, those are the only socks I want to wear ever. I'm like at the point where I'm like, I just need to budget $30 a month to go buy a new pair of socks each month, and then I can just throw away all these other garbage socks. So if you're like, I got $20 to $40 to spend on somebody, and I have no idea, don't just go buy them. Oh, these are cute socks I saw at Target that have Santa on them. Go to like the backpacking store and get them like one really nice pair of socks. And the next cold, wet day that they have, they put
Still a
those
bit
on.
quiet.
They're gonna appreciate you. I'm quiet.
Apparently. Like
I mean, I'm looking at my levels on my end. I am
yeah,
sending
and
you noise.
you are in red on my side. So he shouldn't be quiet. Joe sounds fine to you. Okay, I'm just going to assume it's
people
you
are saying that
guys.
Cleo is too loud on my stream, so they're turning the whole stream down. Okay, I'm turning Cleo down on my end.
Okay, I've turned Joe up to 102% because he was previously on 90. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but people saying Joe sounds fine to me, so I'm going to assume
Yeah, it's probably on my stream.
he's better now. Okay, he's better.
But yeah, seriously, like go buy nice, high quality backpacking socks. Doesn't matter how pretty they are. Don't go for something, oh, it had snowflakes on it. Don't go, it has pumpkins on it. Get them nice backpacking socks, and they're gonna love it next time it's colder. But hey, we got our first tip of the stream rolling in from Jenny, who says, just turned in my bachelor's thesis. Thank you so much for the consistently entertaining streams and episodes during these last very stress-filled months.
Yeah,
Well,
congratulations,
Jenny. That's going to get us $10 here on our abacus, and we'll go ahead and get that camera rotated 10 degrees as well. I didn't have to write a thesis for my bachelor's. I think that's more for like if you're doing like a with honors thing. Did you have to do a thesis for your bachelor's, Cleo?
Yeah, but all UK courses are pretty much with honors, so I didn't have to write a thesis because of my degree. My degree it was called an end of year project, which was basically a thesis, but because we have to do so much math and so much maps in it, it's not really a thesis. I still had to write 15,000 words. But my final year project was mapping out a quarry. It was mapping out a quarry. I don't know what to say. It was this is how thick those beds are. This is how much it will cost in infrastructure. This is how much it will cost to extract, and this is how much you can sell it for. That was my thesis. It was costing a quarry based on borehole data.
If I need to buy a Scottish quarry to fund my Scottish castle, I know who to talk to. Also, I got 5 rolling in from Laura, who says Gyro Hills. We're going to rotate another 5 degrees.
Thank you, Klumily, for the 20-month resub, and Paleo for the bitties. By the way, Paleo, I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. And Chloe Somewhere has resubscribed for 19 months, and Mathematical Jackal has resubscribed for 9 months and has a Twitch baby. Thank you very much.
Woo! Congratulations. Yay. We've also got Withervane tipping 15, who says, one good sock.
One good
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing, though, Cleo, is like, because I knew we were going to like Niagara Falls, where it's cold and wet. I bought myself and Badger each like one really good pair of like backpacking socks. And like they were $30 a pair, but absolutely worth it. It's like it is my shoes and my socks are soaked through, but my feet are still warm.
That's pretty impressive. I used to do like a lot of hiking because as a geology person, it's kind of mandatory. Yeah. But I've always had cold feet because I mean, you don't make a lot of money just coming out of degree stuff.
Oh
And, you
no.
know, I was a student, so like the good stuff I couldn't afford,
Mhm.
but everyone around me could. And that's the worst part.
That's one of the worst parts of going to college, is a lot of people who go to college have rich parents. Darth Worthen, thank you for tipping 5, who says, been a while since I tipped, so here you go. Thank you very much. We're going to rotate Joe another 5 degrees. That's me's.
That's you. Oh, I'm
Um,
so pleased that I finished this.
Yay.
Financial security, yay! Ish.
eh.
We
So,
weren't going to talk about that. Gifts is
well,
what we were
I mean, we want to celebrate your win, but we wanted we want to focus on the positive. We're trying
Yeah.
we're trying to keep this a little bit more upbeat.
I mean,
And
why
then we're
change
laughing
the
because we
habit?
know it's impossible. An hour from now, we'll be like, the worst car accident I ever witnessed.
You had to do a senior design project with 3 other classmates as close as you got to a thesis.
Mhm.
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. I remember being like, there were like 17 people in my university degree course.
Yeah.
And thank you, Manga Mini, for the cow biddies. And because we all like did everything together, because, you know, when you're in a course that small, you kind of know everybody. But
Yeah.
being in the computer labs, because, you know, it was the olden days, we were all in the computer labs together on hand-in day, stressing. So, you know, and like people were just like, I'm not going to be able to get my thesis bound in time. And it's just sort of like, that's your fault. I'm now here for moral support because I got it done the morning.
I'm here playing Oregon Trail. That's what the computer lab is for. Quake and Oregon Trail.
Yeah, well, no, we had people that patrolled our computer labs. Oh, you're not allowed to be on those Telnet chat rooms. Oh, it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I did go on the Telnet chat rooms quite a lot when I was a young'un.
I keep coming back to the idea that, like, if something happens to Discord, I'm just gonna set up my own IRC server for Patreon patrons. Because, you know, I was looking at, like, well, what if I set up forum software as a fallback or something? I'm like, you know what? No, IRC is fine. Everybody can connect to it, whether or not they have a visual connect, whether or not they're running a window manager on their computer or not. They can just run it in the command line.
Thank you, Pushed, for the 20-month resub. That's like nearly a whole year. That's how that works. I know.
Okay.
I know that's wrong, by the way, guys. I know it's nearly 3 years.
So, I've got a whole like list of like different types of readers
coming back
and
to
what
that.
kinds of books they want. Yeah, let's come back to that. So,
Okay.
one of the things I had was for people who like to binge read science fiction series. Because I
Okay.
actually found a new science fiction series in the last few months, and I have been going through all of it. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this, because it completely came out of left field for me. It's called The Diving Universe by Christine Catherine Roosh.
I know who that is. She used to
Okay.
do the Fae series. Fantasy author.
She did. That
Yeah.
is her. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So,
No, I've read those.
yeah, so basically she's got a new series. I say new, like this in the last 10 years. So there's like 11 novels in it and a bunch of novellas. And they're
Christmas
about
gift, Sky.
Yeah, they're about space wreck divers. And so she uses a bunch of like real world like scuba stuff as a framework for people who investigate wrecked spacecraft that have been like floating adrift for hundreds of years or whatever.
Right.
And so it kind of adds a level of grounded realism in terms of the, you know, the approach and the method, even though like the actual science of like the ships that they're exploring and they have FTL and all that is totally different, you know.
Yeah. Give me like keep talking. I'm trying to cover up stuff because I had to do my budget before the beginning of December because that's how that works.
Okay.
It's already in my journal. And I don't want people to see it, so
Oh, that's fair. Also,
you
real
keep
quick, I
talking.
should go ahead and thank Christine for tipping 20, who says belated holiday sale expense. So that's gonna get us 20 more degrees angular up to 55. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So thank you, Christine, for that. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying these the diving series because it takes place in like kind of 3 different major timelines. Because
Okay.
like the character in the present is like exploring wrecks from millennia ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll have like a set of a few books where the main character and her dive company are exploring these ships and like going on adventures in these shipwrecks. And then there'll just be, okay, now here's 2 books about one of those ships and how it got there.
Oh.
And then we go back to the present and she's diving other ships. And one of those ships will just get its own book about like, here's the crew of this ship 2,000 years ago. Man, they're screwed, right? And you
Right.
and you kind of have a little bit of foreshadowing about like, okay, we know the ship was damaged in these ways if we read if you read these other books or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But like, you don't know if there were survivors or not. You don't know if they escaped. You don't, and so it's kind of a interesting way to set up a setting that feels really big and expansive, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Thank you, Mini Cheese Mouse, for the $5 for Happy Winterval. It's appreciated.
Yeah. Yay.
That sounds cool. Sounds like a cool book series.
Yeah, so it, like I said, there's 11 novels and probably like at least a dozen novellas, like little short stories. Because that's the other thing is some of the ships, she'll go back like 5 or 6 years later and be like, you know what, I had an idea for a short story about this ship. Let me just send this into Asimov's or whatever, and then publish it as an ebook later. So
Fair.
it's a fun little thing.
Yeah. I like it.
So yeah, if you've got somebody in your life who's like, I just read all the Brandon Sanderson novels and all the Expanse books, and I don't know what to read now, you could be like, well, this will keep you busy for 2 months, maybe
Yeah.
3.
What was the name of this series again?
It's called The Diving Universe by
Diving.
Christine Catherine Rusch. It might be Rush, I don't know.
I think it's Rusch. Rusch. Rusch.
Yeah, Rusch. Do you have any like big series that you would recommend to people, Cleo? I'm putting you on the spot here because I'm coming in with a list.
If you're a big fantasy person, like things that I read, like I haven't been reading a lot recently because, you know, life. But the one that I really liked was like if you're into big good fantasy books, Tad Williams, the Green Angel Tower series was like my favorite stuff.
The Green Angel Tower series. What
Yeah.
what is the Green Angel Tower series? Like, what's the basic premise?
It's how to describe it. It's your basic coming of age fantasy story. However, it is incredibly well written, and yeah, it deals a lot with like I say, it's been a while since I've read it, but it was the one that stuck with me. Yeah, it's a lot of your basic tropes, but very well done, and it doesn't feel like a trope when you're reading it. Orphan Boy makes good, effectively. Yes.
Oh, okay. There's actually, this is the opposite of a long-running series, but I read a fantasy coming-of-age novel at the beginning of this year that's going to be part of a trilogy, but there's only one of them so far. It's written by Daniel Abraham, one of the guys who wrote the Expanse novels. And the guys who wrote the Expanse novels love The Wire, the HBO show about crime in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And they kind of have some like they actually have some elements of The Wire in the Expanse universe, just, you know, moved forward 800 years or whatever.
Okay.
But this book, Age of Ash, which is going to be book 1 in what they call the Kithamar trilogy, is basically about fantasy Baltimore, and it's also kind of like fantasy universe orphan trying to like, oh no, my brother was killed and now I've got to try to financially survive in this criminal underbelly of a fantasy city type thing. But there's palace intrigue and stuff I'm mixed up in now. Yeah, that sort of thing. I'm kind of underselling it. It's really good in terms of like it's very well written technically. The magic and fantasy elements are well written and work well. But like on a certain level, if you ever watched The Wire and thought, man, this would be better if there was a bunch of magic and stuff, this is the book for you.
Yeah. That's fair.
Darth Worthen tips another 5 who says, somebody stop me! I'm in too good of a mood. Well, thank you very much, Darth Worthen, for the additional 5. We're going to go ahead and rotate that camera another 5 degrees. Who is it that used to yell, somebody stop me? Is that the Mask?
That's the Mask. Just so you know, if you see messages like selling things and trying to get my attention, just don't call them out. It's fine. If they get banned, they get banned. If not, we just ignore them. And we move on with our lives. Just finished reading Nation by Terry Pratchett. I love Nation. Nation is such a good book. Which is it's technically a young adult novel, but like it's so good. MBRS has resubscribed for 21 months. Thank you very much. And Mama Marty has cheered 100 bits saying hello to both of us. Chloe, who's mistaken to be called Cleo. Yeah, I know how that goes. Saying hi. We're both fans of you both and wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you too.
It seems like every time we introduce a book or anything like that, we say the name at least once and then people like weren't listening and then they start hearing us describe it and they're like, wait, The Wire with fantasy elements. What was the name again?
Yeah.
The name of Ash, written by Daniel Abraham. He was one of the co-authors of The Expanse. And it's part 1 of a trilogy called the Kithamar trilogy. And it's killing me that book 2 isn't out yet because it was genuinely really good. A lot of times I will wait until at least the second book. If something like announces they're a trilogy, I'll wait until at least the second book is out before I buy the first one. But
yeah,
I love The Expanse. So I'll give it a go. And it was right up my alley.
Yeah. Crystalite has resubscribed for 20 months. Thank you very much. I mean, it might be a little blurry because of the way the camera is, but, you know, we do what we can, guys. Hogfather is a must this time of year. Yep. Hey, Abby's resubscribed. It says, sup, nerds. All right, Abs. Right, get you. Maybe to try and be cool in my chat. We know you're not cool.
Do I have any recommendations that have moments of addressing the reader directly? Yes, the junior novelization of the Dora the Explorer film. It will...
Having watched the Dora the Explorer film in the last 6 months, holy cow, that's a book. I can only imagine what the book's like.
The book is like the guy who was in charge of writing the junior novelization said to the editor, this movie is too bonkers to write a junior novelization of. Can I just do it like Douglas Adams? Can I just Hitchhiker's Guide this entire thing? And the editor goes, who's gonna read it? It's the junior novelization of the Dora the Explorer movie. Go nuts, buddy. And that guy went nuts. That junior novelization of Dora the Explorer, now a major motion picture, is way better than it needs to be. This is not an ironic recommendation. It seems like an ironic gift, but whoever actually starts reading it will be
understand.
Like, oh my gosh.
Let me put it like this. The movie was way better than it needed to be.
The movie was way better than it needed to be. The book was way better than it needed to be.
It's a special book, and it was a special movie. If you don't have the time to read the book, definitely watch the movie.
Oh boy. But yeah, it's like, can you say instantaneous neurotoxin? I'll wait. Like stuff like that.
It it's a trip.
It's something. It is really something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did see the film theory on it's. I didn't know there was one, but geez.
I'm glad that Nickelodeon Studios is trying to do a good job. Like, they did not have to try as hard as they did to make that a good movie, and you know what? Some little kids would have watched it anyway. But
Yeah.
they made a genuinely interesting piece of art.
I'm not saying they made a good movie. It was an interesting piece of art.
It's intriguing. It's something that you watch it and you
JT.
go,
No,
that didn't need to exist,
and
but
yet it
does.
does.
And that's cool from an art standpoint. There is something of value there that I appreciate.
There was definitely something there.
Yeah.
This novelization sounds like perfect. If your partner is into weird stuff, yeah, novelization of Dora the Explorer, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, if you want something if you have any Shakespeare lovers in your life who also like The Big Lebowski, the Jeff Bridges film, I gotta tell you, there is a rewrite of The Big Lebowski by Adam Bertocci called Two Gentlemen of Lebowski. The entire thing is Shakespearean, and it is brilliant through and through. I have both the book and the book on tape version of it. I listen to the book on tape version of it at least once a year. It is shockingly well written. This is the sort of thing, it's such a funny gimmick. Like, oh, you could tell the story of the Big Lebowski, you know, as a Shakespearean thing. Yeah, that's pretty funny, haha. But like, it's
actually doing it.
It's actually very well executed the entire way through. What's shocking is there's so many Shakespearean elements in the Big Lebowski, like having two guys with the same name get mixed up, and you know, the way that the characters interact with each other and move from scene to scene. It shockingly works without. He doesn't have to change much, right? Like, that's always the thing with these adaptations, is like, well, it doesn't really fit, you know, you're really shoehorning that in. But like, no, The Big Lebowski. Cleo, will you humor me if I read the opening with the chorus?
Go on.
In wayfarers' worlds out west was once a man I come not to bury, but to praise. His name was Joffrey Lebowski called, yet not called, excepting by his kin. That which we call a knave by any other name might bowl just as sweet. Lebowski, then, did call himself the Knave, a name that I, your humble chorus, would not self-apply in Homeland's mind. But then this knave was one from whom sense was a burden to extract, and of the arid vale in which he dwelt, also dislike and sensibility. Mayhap the very search for sense reveals the reason it inspires me to odes. In couplets first, and then a sonnet brave, as prologue to the tale of this the knave. Behold him then, a tumbling soft in sand, to pledge his love immortal to the land. We stray now from fair Albion and from France, and see no queen of bawdy songs and cheers, and in an angel's city take our chance for stupefying tales to take our ears. To war on Arab kings a coast we go, needing a man of times, though hero not. Hear me call him not hero. What's in a hero? Sometimes there's a man, your prologue's thought. The knave, though scarcely man of honored grace, nor god Olympian, nor yet employed, was none the less, for all his time and place, the man befits the circle he enjoyed. A man of lazy ways, of epic sloth, but losing train of thought. I've spake enough. But anyway, so they cram a bunch of Shakespeare references in there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm getting that.
but
I'm
like
getting
the
that.
actual dialogue and stuff is a little bit less over the top. although it's all in iambic pentameter and Shakespearean, like
Mhm.
"Whither the money, Lebowski?" And then it,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah.
yeah. Speak of ducats, or else we duckest thee into the chamber pot, of course. Yeah.
Obviously. One,
Mhm.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. December is a 5-week month.
Coffee pouring.
Ooh, fancy.
Ooh. I know, right? I actually put it in my travel mug so it wouldn't oversteep in the French press.
Ah, sneaky.
Problem is, it stays too hot in the travel mug to drink directly.
This is why I don't drink coffee. Actually, it's not why I don't drink coffee.
Is that really?
No, I just don't drink coffee because I don't like it.
Let's see. Mini Cheese Mouse says, any recommendations on audiobooks? Well, The Two Gentlemen of Lebowski audiobook is very well done. The one that I was just reading. I will say, Patrick Rothfuss's novels, in the Kingkiller Chronicles, the first of which is called Name of the Wind, is a very well written book that is designed to be told from the first person of someone who is an expert storyteller. Like the point of view character comes from like a long line of theatricians or dramatists, and he's telling his own story to a biographer, and so the entire story is told once it shifts to the first person in this just really great readable aloud, like I it's kind of a mix of verse, there's some internal rhyme, there's some wordplay, but it's definitely one of the best books to read aloud if you have the chance to read it aloud yourself. But yeah, let's see. Mini Cheese Mouse says, yeah, those Kingkiller books are good and I want more. Well, dang it, you already heard that one, so now I don't know. The Bobaverse books the Bobaverse has good audiobooks. Cleo, have you heard of the Bobaverse?
I have not.
So, do you know what a von Neumann probe is? In
No, but I have
space?
heard of it.
So, a von Neumann probe is a self-replicating space probe. And the premise of the book is that this guy who just like sold his software company, like or they just went public and he got super rich. He went he goes to get his, like, what do they call it, he signs up with this cryogenic freezing service, with the idea being that there's like a trust that'll keep his brain frozen and then he can wake up in the future. And he's just like, when you have this much money, you want to invest 99% of it in like safe stuff, going water skiing and living life to the fullest. But then you take like 1% of your money and you put it on some long bets, things that'll probably never pay off, but you try it, right? So he gets hit by a car and wakes up a few hundred years in the future, where he's basically waking up in an America that is a theocracy, a theocratic dictatorship.
Oh.
And they are in a space race with a bunch of other countries. And they are basically they need like basically human intelligences to run their space probes that can operate at computer speeds. And so they've been decanting basically anybody who cryogenically froze themselves who was an engineer.
Oh.
In order to basically put them in charge of spacecraft and launch them into space. But like there's a bunch of restrictions on what he can and can't do because it's a theocratic dictatorship and he's not a big fan of those.
No.
So a lot of the book is about him trying to figure out the first book anyway is about him trying to like get through the tests they have for him to go into space. And then once he's there, try to disable any of the fail safes they have for if he goes rogue,
Ah, okay.
and then to go rogue.
Obviously,
and
you like
yeah.
as if you and me would not immediately do that.
Yeah, and so the thing about these von Neumann probes is they're self-replicating.
Uh-huh.
And the idea is that anytime he makes more craft, he has to also copy his consciousness.
Oh, that's going to go bad for them.
And there's drift. Right? It's like they're not exact perfect copies, or like even if they were perfect copies, the experience of being told that you are the second of yourself or the 100th of yourself is going to be a different experience than being the first. Right?
Yes, of course.
And so like basically as the series progresses, he's got to learn to work with
himself
where different elements of his own personality are expressed more strongly or more weakly. But also it turns out that the Cold War between the Theocracy and a bunch of the other nations on Earth has gone hot. And so the original mission was for him to go out and try to explore other solar systems and try to find habitable planets for colonization targets. And that was originally like a militaristic, like, we're going to get the first near-Earth planets, because we're the best. And now it's like a rescue mission where he's got to find he can't just enjoy coasting around the galaxy exploring. He's got to like try to find planets for people to live on and get rescue ships to Earth. It's really cool.
Okay, so that does sound really cool. Could you say the name and author for the people who have forgotten?
Oh, yeah. So the author is Dennis E. Taylor.
Dennis E. Taylor.
The first book is called We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And the name of the series is the Bobaverse.
Okay, right. So
the main character's name is Bob.
Yeah, makes sense. So for the trans flag in the corner, it's because it's Trans Awareness Week, and yes, everybody is accepted. Everybody is welcome here, and we're accepting if people are accepting. Is basically how that goes. And the code is a Streamroots code, which is basically a loot pack system. It's turned off at the moment. You can still buy cards, but it will be turned on later today. It's turned off because I'm with Joe, and playing cards with Joe around is like a minefield because it's Joe.
Yeah. it's fine, but also terrifying.
Yeah. So those will get turned back on later today. So all good. It's just it's Joe. But yeah, I've given like we hit our target, so I've given off like I can't remember what percentage I gave off, but I thought, make it cheaper if people want to buy them because I hit my monthly goal for them. So all good. Yay.
Yeah. I was thinking like, man, if I didn't have a kid, like I would probably be eating rice and beans for the first like 3 weeks out of every month. And then like, if I hit my budget, if I hit my income goal for that month, it's like, yay, I could reward myself with a hamburger.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Also, currently, there's a rare appearance of the straight edge. Look, I do quite well with hand drawing fine lines. I've just got a ruler handy, is all. It's just rude. Yeah, so the Bobaverse sounds great.
Yeah, the main character is kind of snarky because part of one of the other big things too is that most of these like copied like or decanted brains or whatever personalities go insane.
Oh.
And so one of the things on his checklist is constantly make sure I don't actually go insane. So he's trying to find ways to keep himself entertained and engaged with things on these like 20-year the sense of time in this book is really interesting because he has a drive that lets him accelerate close to the speed of light, but there's no actual FTL. So it's like,
Right.
okay, I'm going somewhere 40 light years away, but I can accelerate to nearly the speed of light, but
Okay.
it's still going to take 20 years to get there, you know,
Yeah.
or something like that, because it's because of the acceleration and deceleration time. And so he's constantly trying to find ways to keep himself interested and not lose his humanity and go nuts.
I mean, I feel like I'd cut out the middleman and go nuts immediately.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just as a matter of pride.
Well, it would be cool to explore the galaxy, though.
I mean, it
'Cause-
would be, yeah.
Because like that, because that's the thing, though, is he's on the one hand, just like, man, I really hate theocratic dictatorships,
But on the
but
other
I
hand,
really like the idea of having my own spaceship that I can make more of. Like,
yeah, I like the idea of like there being more me in the universe. I think that would make the world a better place.
mhm.
Actually, I don't think it would make the world a worse place because,
Well, especially if you're not on the world, if you're
yeah.
bouncing around, exploring other planets and
Like there's a lot of
stars.
space out there. I think we could, deal with 100 or so of me.
Yeah.
And inevitably some of them would go insane because
Mhm.
it's me. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm living life on the ragged edge as it is. Like,
yeah, it's like if you were in that situation though, I think you would handle it better than most because you've got innate curiosity. Although you do need people more than yeah.
Oh, well, I also don't do well in isolation. I
Yeah.
always do better living around other people or with other people.
See, I'm the
Like,
opposite. I do better on my own. So
like I like having my own space within kind of that cluster. But like living in an apartment building with a bunch of my friends after college was really great.
see, I immediately tried to live alone. As soon as I got a job on my own, it was just sort of like, yep, no. Bye, mum and dad. Love you. I'm leaving. My dad was very confused. My dad is one of those people that doesn't do well without other people. So he was very confused as why I wanted to
Doing well with
leave.
other people and not wanting to live with your parents, right?
No, there's not. For you, there might be. No, there's not. For me, it's the same stuff.
My point is, like, I like having other people around, but I felt like I couldn't grow as an individual if I was still living with my parents. Like, it wasn't going to give me the opportunities I wanted.
Yeah. I mean, I'd already moved out for uni. Having to go back was like nightmare dystopia. Because, I mean, as the youngest child, they still wanted me to treat me as the youngest child, despite the fact that I'd been away for uni for 4 years.
Yeah, that's not good.
And had my own job. And it was just sort of like, I'm not a kid. And my mum was like, I know you're not a kid. And my dad was just like, you're still my kid. I'm like, that's fine. I'm going out. Where are you going? I'm not telling you because I'm 22.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I cannot be doing like reporting my whereabouts to people. And because I'm the youngest, my dad still can't get it through his head that, I'm still going to do what I want to do. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
So, lived in a student house where I had my own bedroom. Some days I ate noodles and didn't have to go into the kitchen and deal with people. Yep. Your pet. Yeah, I know, Abby. It's like, you don't know what's best for you. No, I'm pretty sure I do. I'm pretty sure that's a me thing, not a you thing. To be fair, my parents were never that bad. They did let me just go off and do my own thing, despite trying to talk me out of things. So,
yeah, Waterfall 8484 says you never stop being a child to your parents. Well, here's the thing, though, is at least that kind of goes both ways. When I'm around my parents, I can be a child again. You know. Did I tell you that I've got a new niece?
You did?
Yeah. So I got to meet her this weekend. We went down for the baptism. And on our way there, we were a little early, so my parents were like, "Oh, let's stop at Starbucks." And I don't really like Starbucks.
Fair.
I have a sensitive stomach, and if I don't need to get anything from there, I'm not going.
Mhm.
And so my mom is just like, Joe, do you want a coffee? I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. But, I don't want to have a hard time falling asleep in church later. And just, in the middle of the story, she's like, Joseph! I'm like, yeah, I still got it.
I mean,
You always know how to push your parents' buttons.
oh, I wish I had that one. My parents are very non-religious, or
Yeah.
so it's just sort of like, I suppose for me it would be going to church. It's like, well, why do you want to do that? Like, seems like a thing you do. Weekend Rainstorm has resubscribed for 10 months. Sorry for bringing this up. Just want to say, I understand. I did lose my mum to leukemia, technically speaking. So I understand, and I'm glad we can help in any way. My parents have accepted we're all adults, but they can't accept we have our own plans on the weekend and won't be home to do whatever chores they plan to. Like, arguably, my parents are pretty good at not, like, my dad's not pretty good at not giving me chores. My dad is very annoyed that I won't let him help in my garden. Because, like, since he retired, that's been his thing. I do people's gardens for them. I'm like, well, I want to do my own garden. That's not allowed. I do the gardens. No, Dad. I'm 42. Let me do my own garden.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's just one of those things. But my dad is struggling with that one. I don't know why that's the thing he's struggling with. But yeah, the garden.
Well, he's probably just looking for excuses to get out of the house since your mom passed.
I mean, honestly, my dad gets out of the house more than most people do, even with like massive sciatica going on. And he has friends down the club. Because my dad is a member of the Working Man's Club, so he's been going there like my whole life. So he has a more vivid social life than I think most teenagers do. So
that's good.
It's just the garden is his thing. So, excuse to spend time with you. No.
Oops.
No, my dad doesn't want to spend time with me. We love each other, but we are very different people. My mum still tries to go through my shopping bags. Ew! No. Boundaries. My dad won't even go through the bags I get for Christmas presents that are wrapped up. Oof. So, are you planning on seeing family for Christmas, Joe?
Yeah. I just locked down those plans last night so that I can figure out when I'm doing my Christmas Carol streams. So, yeah. So yeah, we're all gonna hang out is the plan.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't want to go into too much specifics.
I know. I was trying to figure out a way of
I was like,
changing
which parts of this are a good idea to talk about in public, and which parts aren't. And then I was like, not really much.
Yeah, no, my brain was just sort of like, I've obviously asked a question that Joe doesn't want to answer. How do I change the subject?
No. Yeah, it's fine. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, but like, saying exactly, like which days we're doing what,
That's cool. Well, I'm glad you get to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited too because my sister is coming back from college.
Oh, nice.
Partway through December, and she's going to be staying with us. She has a job here in town. She does on break. So my daughter's very excited to have a roommate.
Oh, a favorite sister, I see. No? Okay.
Wait, what do you mean a favorite sister? It's not my daughter's sister, it's my sister.
I know, but like a favorite aunt then.
Yeah, favorite aunt. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was just confused by I was like, wait, what does Cleo think is happening here? I don't have like a second kid.
I'm aware of that, Joe. Dear God, I'm aware of that. If you did have a second kid, I'd be worried about that child because you never talk about them.
Yeah, there's only love in my heart for the one.
Yeah.
No. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, so I'm excited.
Joe's out here counting his kids in his head. Do I have the one?
Yeah. Womp, womp, womp. But yeah, it'll so December will be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that. I pulled all the Christmas stuff out of storage yesterday, but we haven't got the tree yet because it was pouring in Nashville.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, do I want to go and do like Christmas decorations? Because my brain is like, this time next year I will be in my own house is the plan.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, can I be bothered to get out the Christmas decorations for this year? Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm not sure I can.
Well, here's the thing though, is like I found with stuff like that, you know, if I don't have enough self-discipline to see it through.
Yeah.
So I might say, you know what, I'm not gonna do the decorations this year. Whatever, we're moving, blah blah blah. But then the day before Christmas, I'm gonna be like, I waited too long. I should do this all right now. Oh no, I can't find this. I gotta run to the store to buy a replacement. Like, just do it. Like, you're gonna be annoyed later that you didn't do it already. Is the problem?
I mean, that's true. That's true. Okay, it looks like I'm starting this week on a Friday. I don't know what's. I can't do calendars lately. It seems. Okay, so
Apparently.
so like this is the Thursday. What the hell?
And we need to do. We need to rotate 3 degrees thanks to rotation. Do.
Have a huge tree
And
stuck in a
then-
hard. That's our not decorating excuse. Fair enough.
Good grief 76 in the Twitch chat writes, Joe, seems like you need to go with the flow a bit more conversationally, as it creates awkward moments. Thanks for that note, Good grief 76. I'll try.
You don't need any more awkward moments, Joe. You've got plenty.
Well, I mean, this seems like a solid strategy for creating more. If I just go with the flow in the conversation, I can find the better opportunities to create awkward moments.
I guess. I'm not putting my tree because my cats will try to climb it like they did last year. Like, honestly, my cats are just like very uninterested in the Christmas tree. They'll sniff it a bit and then they'll go, So, yeah.
Well, they get to go outside, though, so maybe, like, indoor cats freak out
True.
more.
Maybe. But they don't get to go outside very often, but, you know, I suppose a little bit is.
Still, they know what a tree is. Like, it's not like, oh my goodness, what is this?
True. Got the light hung up earlier this week. Need to adjust some. Like, if I do it, I don't have a lot of decorations, and my brain is like, I am so tired. I might just... Like, part of me wants to just go get something that's already decorated and just put it up. And not go digging out through, like, all the bins and stuff. Or, like... Can I just leave the Halloween decorations up? I mean, it depends on what sort of Christmas you want, but sure. Having seen your Halloween decorations, Chris, I do think you might be onto a winner there.
You always have the option.
I know. I'm just tired. So, like, maybe going out and spending £10 on, like, a wreath or something to hang up would be something.
Oh, I forgot to get our wreath out of store.
The bins of decorations, like the big plastic tubs.
Oh, not the trash.
Not the trash. Weirdly enough, not the trash.
Okay.
Did you think I was going through the trash?
No, I didn't realize when somebody's like, what kind of bins are you talking about? Like, what other kind of bins are there?
Yeah.
That's what I was struggling with, was what other possible meaning there could be.
I mean, generally we do use the term bins here rather than, you know, trash, but I
the
know.
trash cans.
I thought you were dumpster diving for tinsel. No, Abby, I'm not you.
Cleo, you get out of that there garbage pail.
I'm not decorating for Christmas this year. I live alone. I'm just too tired. Like, honestly, I'm just exhausted right now. Maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe then I'll want to do something. But I've got to clean the house, and the house is just exhausting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a story there? Sky, Abby, like, I think most people in the chat know Abby is just my actual real life friend. I'm taking the mickey out of them because I can. You're not allowed to, okay?
Never.
They're also an artist, which does explain a lot of things. So, but yeah, it's like I can take the mickey out of Joe. No one else is allowed to take the mickey out of Joe.
Yeah.
If it, somebody on Hermitcraft decides to take to pick on Joe, I'm like, no, that's my designated picking upon person.
Oh no.
So got to at least ask permission. Hey NJ, thank you for the 21 months. Morning, need to clean is a falling. Like, honestly, I have slept. Like, I think I'm low grade ill, if you know what I mean. It's like nothing serious, but I am exhausted. I am sleeping at least like 12 hours a day at the moment.
Mm-hmm. That's not good.
So, like, the thought of like cooking and cleaning and doing household chores is a nightmare. You know what? I was sorting out my sleep schedule. I sorted it out, and the next day I completely knackered it again. Mm-hmm. So it was just sort of like, why did I bother? This makes me think all hermits have a designated picking upon person. No, I think that might just be me. I think it's just me.
I was gonna say, sometimes it feels like Garha.
Yeah, okay, you know what? Scar does pick on you an awful lot.
Yeah, just when you're asleep, so you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
He murders me like 4 or 5 times a week. Like, somebody was just like, during the tag game on Empires, Grian was like, oh, it's not really sporting to carry totems. And I'm like, I always carry totems because Scar just straight up shows up out of nowhere and murders me nonstop. Like, this is not me trying to screw with your tag game, Grian. This is just how I have to play Minecraft if I want to get anything done.
Yeah, I need to sort out something for that. That's another thing I don't have the energy for. It's just like, okay, I guess we're doing this. I think Scar only murders people so that his end of season death count doesn't look so bad. I mean, what was his last one? Hey, Manatee Gag, thank you for the 21 months. It's appreciated. To be honest, Scar's gotten good at killing people. When he used to be, do you remember in like the first seasons where he didn't know what he was doing and he couldn't kill anyone for toffee? I really liked him then.
Remember when Scar was likable?
Remember when Scar didn't murder everyone out of hand?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I would like to caveat, this is a joke. Scar is great.
Yeah, we're joking. We love Scar. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Before anyone goes, Scar, did you know they hated you? And then get Scar paranoid because he's like, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Because Scar will apologize. You know? Just, yeah, let's not do that to Scar. No one needs that. He got murdery after last life. He got good at it, maybe. I can't believe I've just started this not on a Monday. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Because it's supposed to start on a different day.
It's supposed to start on Mondays. It started on a Wednesday. That's just wrong.
Mahi says Joe dedicated a Thanksgiving thread to Scar. I'm pretty sure Scar knows Joe appreciates it. Cleo, did you see this?
No.
So, at Thanksgiving when we were getting everything set up, my sister had said something about like, this year can we all go around the table and talk about what we're thankful for?
Mm-hmm.
And like, my parents don't really like stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, so I jump in and I'm like, and specifically why we're thankful for the name of my sister in particular.
Uh-huh.
And they thought that was pretty funny. And I'm like, oh, I should do something on Twitter where I say, hey, it's Thanksgiving, so let's go around the table and say why we're thankful for another hermit. Who's the funniest hermit? And I was originally gonna do B-dubs or one of them, and I was like, no, this would end up like being mean or sarcastic. I'm like, who's somebody that everyone's genuinely thankful for? Scar. Okay, yeah, let's go around the table and say why we're thankful for Scar. That thing got like 1,000 retweets and like dozens of responses, and like it was like people just jumped on that like crazy. And I was like, oh, this is just an offhand comment making fun of my sister that way bigger.
That's quite cute, actually.
But yeah. Let's go around the table and talk about why we're what we're thankful for and why it's me.
I mean, it seems valid to me.
Yeah.
I all think you need to do a defend yourself from Scar is to live in a forest. Trees kill him more than anything else.
Watch out for that tree. Scar, Scar, Scar of the forest, dead as he can be. Ah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, he would be dead immediately. That's true. Joe declared it National Make Scar Cry from How Loved He Is Day, and you went with it.
I don't think Scar didn't acknowledge it, so I don't even know if he saw it.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people are looking at Twitter these days. I've taken it off my phone. So I have to actually go looking for it. And when I remember, oh yeah, Twitter's a thing, my brain is like, you don't need to go and see. You just don't. And I'm like, you're right, brain. You're right. Let's just not bother. It's been great for me, to be honest. For like mental health, you know, it's just like, oh, ignoring Twitter. You deleted your account, which is fair. Like, I'm keeping my account just in case things get things get better and I need to laugh at a particular person.
I'm hoping it gets bought out. Honestly,
yeah.
This is the sort of thing where if somebody offered him $15 billion for Twitter right now, he'd be stupid not to take it.
Yeah, he would be. But we've never said he's smart, so...
Well, yeah, I get that. But I'm just saying, like, this is just demolishing his professional reputation so quickly and will ultimately undermine the value of his other companies. I'm really hoping that a company steps in and is just like, hey, you know, you're driving this 44 billion you spent into zero. What if we give you 5 billion? Right? Like,
you see, to him that would be a tragedy.
It would, but at the same time, like
admitting he was wrong is something that he struggles with anyway.
Yeah.
And on this scale, people are going to laugh at him and he's going to cry.
Well, they're laughing at him and he's crying anyway. Like, it's... I'm optimistic that somebody will bail the site out.
I mean, I would say that would be the case if it wasn't for all, like, the fact that there's no one working on it anymore.
Yeah, getting the staff back will be difficult.
I mean, virtually impossible, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, that's why whatever company acquired it would have to already have some of the expertise. They're not going to have all of it. Mm-hmm. But, like, at least having people who know how servers work on a baseline level. People, like, if they were bought by a company like Automatic, which is probably too small to be able to afford it, but
Mhm.
Automatic bought Tumblr. And I don't think they're doing a great job running Tumblr, but at least it still exists, right?
Yeah.
If Automatic bought Twitter, at least it would still exist. And Matt Mullenweg, the guy who runs Automatic, is not one of my favorite people. I think he makes a lot of stupid decisions, but they're generally well-intentioned stupid decisions, at least. And they're slower. They're not
Yeah. Okay.
erratic, high-speed, stupid
Fair,
decisions.
I guess. Okay. So
Like, the best case scenario for this is somebody I dislike less who makes stupid decisions slower buys Twitter. That says a lot, I think, about where
I only use Twitter so I can tweet my Hermitcraft factory, which is fair, valid, 100% valid.
Well, here's where I'm looking at though. Is it's like, this is where I keep track of a bunch of journalists. This is where I keep track of a bunch of people that I've met at conventions over the years. There's no one good place to do that otherwise.
See,
right?
this is the account where I piddle on bigots. So I kind of would like it to stay because
Well,
it
then
makes my experience so much better because I get to ban all the people that are just howling bigots that don't like me saying nice things to non-bigots.
Well, here's the other thing though too is like, for example, this is where I talk about like labor issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I was actually thinking, I was like, I don't know if anybody's reading my tweets about this railroad stuff. Maybe my last episode on the Empire server should just be me explaining why the Biden administration is a bunch of cowards by not giving railroad engineers 4 sick days. I was actually here's a proposed structure for if we record a big group recording before leaving the server or whatever, because everybody's gonna have the same footage, right? And so nobody's basically, right?
Basically, yeah.
Well, I was kind of thinking I would be like, to basically pretend I'm on the phone with a bunch of people in Washington about this train thing, and be like, and I was thinking I would probably be very sweary in this, but I'm not. I think that makes it seem more authentic, but it might upset people.
It would definitely upset people. Look what happened when I swore, Joe.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I got 10 effing minutes because Grian is running behind on his thing. I got to hit record soon. Okay, look, I need to talk to Buck Geek and Transportation. What the hell is he thinking? We got this going on. We got that. Just like basically ranting about the rail issue while basically working my way through the White House phone tree. And every so often I'm like, hold on, I got to put you on hold so I can record this stupid thing on the dumb Empire's server. And then
no, that would go badly. Don't say that.
and then it would cut to, okay, I'm done recording, blah, 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 blah. So the episode is basically, the episode is structured so it's all the audio of me yelling at people on the phone between
takes.
Between takes.
I don't want to say do it, but it would be funny.
The thing is, I really feel like it wouldn't work without the swearing. I just don't. I don't think.
Well, to be fair, they're not going to be annoyed that you're hyper masculine.
The sort of people that call up their buddies in Congress and yell at them swear a lot.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, that's like arguably, yeah, I guess so.
Like for this to be like, oh, you're seeing behind the curtain, Joe's pulling the strings in Washington.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, this is the hermits between takes. Like, yeah, but like I don't know. But the thing I'm worried about though is by the time something like that went live or got out of embargo, the rail strike bill would have already passed also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it looks like they're trying to move real quick on this because they're being a bunch of jerks about it. But anyway, I'd rather complain about this on Twitter than on the streams because I kind of like the streams and the YouTube episodes to be like a bit of positivity in an otherwise terrible world. And Twitter is where I acknowledge how terrible the world is. And then the streams and YouTube is where I try to say, but we're doing our best. right? If you take
Mhm.
away that outlet from me, then I have to find a way to mash it all together. And maybe the end result will be better, but
Maybe.
I'm not gonna bleep the swears mahis. I can't, but what I'm running into is even just trying to explain this concept, I can't improvise the lines to give an example without the swearing. Like, it's just intrinsic. Like, go watch the thick of it. Like,
Into the
how
thick of it. Sorry.
it's like you can't interact with Washington or politicians on that level without swearing it profusely. It's just part of it.
We appreciate you, Joe.
I'm trying.
And I'm not being facetious. We do appreciate you.
Thank you, Cleo.
You're welcome. Joe is your spirit animal. No, he's not. He's a nearly 40-year-old person. Promise you.
Yay. I don't know if I'm nearly 40.
Are you close to 30?
How close do you have to be to 40 to be nearly 40?
Closer to 40 than to 30.
Okay, because I'm closer to 35 than to 40.
Joe?
Yeah.
Are you closer to 30 or 40?
40, technically, but like
Right,
I'm 36.
there we
That
go.
doesn't feel like nearly 40.
Joe, that's 4 years.
Okay.
Deep down, we're all nearly 40. I'm actually over 40, guys. Trust me. That 36 isn't as valid as Joe thinks it is.
That's just not how I think. That's not how I think about math. If you said,
Joe,
if I was bringing chairs to something, like, I wouldn't consider 35 almost 40 chairs. Or around, if you said bring around 40 chairs, to me that would be like 38 to 42 chairs.
Joe, like, we're all also talking physically. Mentally, however, you are 78. It's mean, but we both know it's true.
Well, you know what? Since my mind is going to go soon, just a quick reminder, the tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat.
Yeah, oh yeah, no ages in chat. Just so we remember, because otherwise we have to ban.
Because we have to ban a bunch of kids every time that happens.
Yeah, granted, most of the people here are just like, yeah, I'm like 50.
Yeah, but the thing is, then one kid will be like, I'm 11, and then we have to ban them because Twitch
and report
YouTube
them.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That's why we have that rule. It's not that because we care about your ages particularly. We don't. But also, I like to not give, like, bad people into younger children.
We don't get rid of people that are under 13.
And also,
I'm not willing to lose my channel.
And also, I don't want people who are, like, below 18 to say their ages either, because, you know, there are people who are not nice that hang out on the interwebs and will go, oh, you're 15. I don't like those people either. So let's not make it easy for him. Joe has grumpy elder vibes. Joe has stressed elder vibes.
This is what happens when you live in a society without a good social safety net.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all fun and games until someone loses their account.
Mm-hmm.
By their account, I mean me.
Yeah.
Do we want to be 85? I mean, you can be 85 if you want. But let's not talk about it. See how that works? Yeah. It's easier to not. Twitter is where you live in a society. Here is where we escape society. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
that's
mean-
true either, but sure.
Well, I mean, but I don't know. For me, like, Twitter is where I engage with journalists, politicians, and people I've met from all over the world. Like, and things are not great in a lot of these places. And this is how I keep up with people who are like in Seattle protesting or in St. Louis or wherever. Like, you know, because it's
Understandable.
one thing to read like, oh, hey, here's what the New York Times says is going on in these protests in Seattle, versus like, hey, this guy I met at PAX a few times is protesting in Seattle and he's tweeting what he's experiencing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it does help me have a less filtered. I mean, it's
grasp
still a
of the
filtered
world.
worldview, but like, it's filtered through the experiences of people that I've met personally, which I think
Is valid.
has a value. And I'm upset that that might be going away. And I'm hoping that it doesn't.
I'm hoping that it doesn't, but also aware that not being on Twitter a lot has given me some mental space that I didn't know I needed.
I get that when I avoid Discord.
Fair. See, Discord for me
like-
is just a nice place to go.
Yeah.
But I understand it would stress you out, Joe. You dyed your hair yesterday, and I love how awful it is. Why is it awful? What colour did you dye it? Is it I think it's awful, or it is objectively awful? Is it puce? I don't know why I chose puce, but puce is objectively an awful colour. Where did I put my labels of days of the week? I'm up and moving, but I can still hear and everything.
Okay, I can still hear you too and everything.
Good.
You're still audible, just quiet.
Audible, quiet, and shuffling through like hundreds of bits of paper. I have so many stickers. Like, arguably too many. I need more. I definitely had days of the week stickers. It was definitely a thing I owned. Okay, looks like I can't find them. That's a shame, they were cool. Need to buy more. Puce is like a grey purple, yeah. It's specifically the colour that insects are when you fleas are when you squidge them. Apparently. Don't ask me how I know that. Oh, I found some stickers. I found some day of the week stickers under the colours. Which arguably was where I was looking. I've gotten into die cutting stuff for cards, and that's real fun. Can you die cut my stickers for me? They're just sheets. I have to cut them out.
But that person would have to make a custom die for
I know.
cutting. per shape.
I know.
That's like the least effective way to do it.
I know. But I'm still sad. What day it starts? It starts on Thursday. Thursday. See you later, Rafa. My cat gave our whole house a flea infestation once.
That's nice.
How?
Probably by bringing fleas inside. If I had to guess, I don't.
No, I'm just like, okay, I get that, but it's just sort of like, how does one cat give you an infestation? Because you know, I've had cats that have had fleas before, and it's never turned into an infestation. It's just like, you must live out in the country somewhere. That's the only way I can think of that it's doable. Because, you know, I'm assuming there's a higher ratio.
A lot of people are saying that
Having them
they are
all is
very
awful.
cold
Yes.
right
Huh?
now. A lot of people are saying it's cold where they are.
Yeah, I mean, having cold
Because
is useful because
apparently
fleas
the
die.
nearly 40 conversation has switched to people being like, it's not even nearly 40 Fahrenheit here.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
So, you know, Badger Spanner says, my mate hasn't got her heating on right now, so we've been living in hoodies and duvets. Now, duvets, of course, are French. I'm not sure where hoodies are from, but I hope you enjoy your international freezing experience.
Yard is treated as well. That's so weird. It's sort of like, I have 2 cats. Occasionally there will be a flea.
Okay, so
And
people don't use
weird.
spoiler tags in this live event chat, because then I have to click over there to read it.
Yeah, Joe doesn't know if he has to ban you, okay? Just
Well,
give him a break.
or I don't know if what you're saying is something for me or not. Like people using don't use spoiler tags in the stream chat.
It's always for you, Joe. Everything for you, Joe.
Well, they could talk in a different room if they don't. This is the one for me to read during the stream. Don't make it hard for me to read. Come on.
I have an hoodie, but it's a case of I need to keep the house quite warm because otherwise I can't breathe.
Oh no.
I have temperature sensitive asthma. So yeah. How does Badger not snack him mentally for some of these jokes? I mean, honey, I don't smack you for any of your jokes. I think about it sometimes. Are they though, Cam?
What? I don't know where hoodies are from. Do you know where hoodies are from, Cameron JK?
Hoodies are from sweatshops usually.
Okay, so I guess they're what? Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese, something. Okay. So, oh well, if it's Vietnamese, then you got the French connection there too with the duvets. So we brought it back around.
Okay.
Thank you, Cameron JK.
He doesn't have Joe Community because he doesn't show up in the subtitles in Cleostra. I mean, that's true. Don't worry, Elle. It's okay to be confused. According to Wikipedia, they originated in the New York warehouse in the 1930s. I didn't know someone was going to look, but you know what, JT? It was going to be you that looked.
This hoodie was made in New York City. New York City.
I mean, what were they trying to make? Were they just trying to make a jumper with a hood on?
I'm imagining, like, if it was like, oh, hey, this is a refrigerated warehouse type of thing. Like a meat locker type. So it would be for the guys going in and out of there, loading and unloading, maybe. But I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, I guess you're not wrong. You might not be wrong, possibly.
Yeah, I love possibly not being wrong, perhaps.
I'm too tired, Joe. I don't know if you're wrong or not. It's too much for me to guess.
Because they had like hooded cloaks before. Like hoods weren't an innovation of the 1930s.
No,
but they didn't
hoods have been
necessarily
around
have
for a while. Yeah.
hooded sweaters or sweatshirts.
That's upstate New York, not NYC. We're being clear, are we? Specific.
Oh, so it's like Buffalo Wing, so like one of those upstate innovations.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, Buffalo's upstate. I drove through it recently.
Okay. I guess. Makes sense. It can get cold in New York. Rochester. I'm assuming that's a place.
That is a place. It's also upstate. It's a little bit east of Buffalo.
Okay. I don't know where Buffalo is.
It is just south of Niagara, maybe 10 miles.
Okay. I vaguely know where that is. NJ has friends there, apparently. Fair.
Yay. NJ has friends everywhere.
NJ's just a very friendly person.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo is that place that's now buried in snow. I was going to make a joke about the Arctic then, but it's fine. It's fine. That's probably not buried in snow, to be fair, which is a problem. We did mention not going dark today, didn't we?
We were trying.
We're just not very good at not going dark.
Although I do have a book that's one of the darkest of the book suggestions.
Oh, go on.
Is a graphic novel. Well, it's technically not a graphic novel because it's a graphic memoir by cartoonist Kate Beaton, who did the Hark a Vagrant historical comics.
Right.
And it's about her time she spent working in the Alberta oil sands when she was trying to pay off her student loans from art school and kickstart her career as a cartoonist. And it turns out working in the Alberta oil sands kind of sucks.
Yeah, no. As somebody who has known many petroleum geologists, whoo.
Yeah, and but like the thing is, she's from this. She's actually from the same island Jem is from.
Okay.
In eastern Canada, and it's really hard for people to make a living there because the fishing grounds are all dried up basically, and then they had some steel plants that closed down, and there's just not a lot of jobs, and so almost everyone who needs money ends up going to Alberta 9 or 10 months out of the year to work the oil sands. And so when she was trying to figure out how to pay her student loans off when she couldn't get a job as an artist, she's just like, I guess I'll just do what everybody else does. And so it's actually kind of weird because it's not like she's going out there by herself to work the oil sands. It's like she's constantly running into people she went to high school with, or her friend's dad, or random people from town, like across the country working the oil fields.
So bizarre.
But yeah, there's a great line in there where she's talking to one of the guys. He's like driving her out to a work site or whatever, and he's talking about his youth and what he used to do, and she's like, "Oh, you used to be a fisherman?" And he's just like, "I'm still a fisherman. I'm just here."
Ooh.
And it's just like, yeah. In the same way, she's still an artist. She's just here. Everybody's just here. And she's like, a lot of the book is about how like the entire like oil sands region is this interstitial space where everybody's just there trying to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it creates these weird social structures because nobody believes they're going to be here for very long, even though a lot of them end up there 10 months, 11 months out of the year, 15, 25 years. Right. Yeah. But they're like, this isn't my life. This is just something I'm doing. Right.
Right.
And that isn't safe or healthy.
No.
So the book is named Ducks by Kate Beaton.
Mm-hmm.
Strongly recommend it. It just came out in the last year, so if you're looking for something for somebody who like reads a lot of graphic novels and probably already picked up everything from last year, this just came out like a couple months ago, maybe 3 months, but it's really good.
Sounds like a lot.
But there's a lot there. It's very poignant. There's a lot of positive human moments though,
Mm-hmm.
mixed in with the bad, you know.
Yeah, I know.
But it shows the ups and downs, and you know it definitely gets pretty heavy in parts, but there are other parts that's just like people goofing off around the work site, and not in like a oh somebody's gonna end up dead way, but like
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
like we're trying to make the best of it together type of thing.
yeah. Dogs Be Great just says, I wish I was writing down all the book recommendations you've done this stream.
Chloe the Great and Powerful says the oil sands can make you so much money. Everyone I know has thought of it. Kara K says the Alberta corporations take huge advantage of those people. Sure, they get paid, but it's absolutely atrocious. I grew
Mm-hmm.
up in northern Alberta. Swore up and down I wouldn't do it, even though it made it so I couldn't find a job easily. My brother, however, is still trapped in it. It's isolating and almost cultish. You can't really leave. Yeah, that's the other thing is these work sites are so remote. A lot of times you have to live on site in like a
Yeah.
workers' village, and yeah, and they go. Kate Beaton goes into a lot of that in the book. It's really uh really a well told story where she establishes the setting. She shows like she's kind of one of the lucky ones who didn't, get cancer and die in the next 5 years. She didn't get trapped there forever. But not all of her friends and family were so lucky. It's
Mm. Well,
she's a success story as an escapee, basically.
Jesus
But
Christ.
well, and you know what's crazy about it too, though, is like she worked there for she did her like a year, and then she got a
Mm-hmm.
job offer in Vancouver, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
working at an art museum, and as an artist, that seems great. And she moves to Vancouver, and they like cut her hours at the museum or whatever. And she's just like, I was gonna make exactly enough money to live here and pay off the bare minimum of my student loan payments. But now
Ah.
I'm getting behind on my student loan payments, and she has to go and she goes back to the oil fields for another year or two. And she sees like this is like what life can be like in Vancouver if I'm an artist who can afford to live here, but I'm not an artist who can afford to live here. This is a this is a fantasy that I can't sustain. If I can get these
Oh.
loans paid off, then I could maybe make it. But with
Mm-hmm.
these payments, I can't, you know. And it's about it really does a good job of expressing how much of a trap these student loans are for people and how badly it can go.
Mm-hmm. People are
Uh,
asking if there would be a list somewhere of recommendations from you, Joe.
I'm working on a blog post about these, but like I don't really have my thoughts together right now. It's more of a ramble, as you can tell.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's fair,
Um,
Joe.
the Greater Good says I wanted to read this, but now it sounds too relatable. Yeah, it's very relatable for me. Because I spent 10 years paying off my student debt, and uh like I get it. I see like the amount of money that she was making in that
Yeah.
amount of like she was making a lot of money very quickly in this terrible job, like more than I was making in my some of my first jobs, um which was like writing code. Uh so, you know, but
Yeah.
I
It's a tricky thing. Like when you're making that much money, you also get used to making that much money.
Mhm.
That's always a real problem when you're, you know.
Well, so the thing for her was she wasn't because she was like living in like a factory town
Mm-hmm.
where they like provide the apartment or the trailer or whatever,
Yeah.
right? she didn't really have it. The only thing that she could be tempted to spend money on really was going home. And her
Right.
parents kept being like, "You should come for this holiday. You should come for this holiday." And she's like, "Well, that'll wipe out, like
All
that'll
my
set me back,
savings.
you know." And so, um, yeah, because she had like there were some places that she could work where she would live off site, and that's where you're like, "Well, let me upgrade my furniture. Let me do this. Let me do that." But if you're just in a furnished trailer that they
Yeah.
provide, like you're just like, "Screw it. I'm basically camping." It's real easy to just funnel that money straight into your loans, you know?
Yeah. Juniper Willows resubscribed for 18 months. Thank you very much. It feels like a trap. It's why I never actually went into, like, I mean, aside from like being vaguely against it, that's why I didn't go into the petroleum stuff, because I could have done straight out of uni. There was an offer there,
Yeah.
but it's like, do I want to be away from civilization for months at a time?
Yeah.
And then everyone's going, it would pay for itself. I'm like, yeah, but I don't need to be retired at 23. I just, I mean, now I think I could have been retired at like, well, not 23, but I could have been retired at 32, maybe. Early 30s. And it's like, and I could still be doing this.
Yeah. I mean, economic uncertainty is definitely the biggest continuous stressor in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just, people are like, "Joe, you work too hard. Why don't you take more time for yourself?" It's like, because I'm breaking even as is, or I'm slightly less than breaking even as is. I can't afford to take more breaks. It'll kill. Like, like, I don't know, and like that doesn't seem like a good way to live, but I don't know how to fix it other than being
Mm-hmm.
richer earlier. Like, I'm already in
Oh, yeah, a
this.
test. That's true. No, I get you,
Like,
Joe. I get you.
uh,
You would have needed to retire at 35. I mean, like, a lot of people, yes, but as the geologist, not so much. The drill riggers absolutely would have to retire at 30 odd.
yeah.
The geologist who's looking over the boring samples, not so much.
Kara K says the lack of cultural infrastructure and the demolition of existing cultural infrastructure leads to rampant alcoholism and drug abuse out there. Yeah, that makes
Yes.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's Beaton goes into that some in the book. I don't want to. It's not like the sole focus of the binding, but it's definitely acknowledged as a problem.
As a problem, yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things too. She talks about like, man, we have like 100 safety training hours we have to do every year, where they're like, okay, come watch this forklift training video, come watch this, but like they don't have anything for recognizing if you or the people around you have a drug problem. And a lot of the people around her do have a drug problem, which then becomes a safety problem.
Yeah, as it would. I mean, I am very thankful that I never got into, like, I started in that kind of line of work, but I started in civil stuff. So I never got into the whole going out, working on oil rigs kind of thing. But I could have very easily gone that way.
Yeah.
Do senior geologists get to look at the interesting samples? No, they tend to be checking the data, and if something is weird, they will go and maybe look at the samples. They're mostly looking at things like sonographic data and stuff like that. So.
But yeah, so once again, for anybody interested, in the name of that book is Ducks by Kate Beaton.
We're aware that
Look-
Joe may not have sold it to you quite that well.
It's a well. What I'm saying is, it's a. I think if I was trying to like explain to my parents why student loans were bad
Mm-hmm.
in a way that maybe they would understand, I would get them this book, right?
Right.
Like, this book reflects some parts of my lived experience, although with a more extreme situation. If that makes sense. In a
No,
way
it
that's
does
more
make sense.
compelling as a story for other people.
I mean, I think
And
if you were
so-
to do your story, it would be fairly compelling.
I don't know.
That's not me encouraging you to write a book, Joe. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
like,
have
the
the
thing
time for that.
is, like, yeah, I don't have. For one thing, I don't have time for it. For another thing, I'm legally required not to say anything negative about my ex around my daughter, and I feel like writing a book.
I mean,
about
how long does
my-
that last? That lasts until she's 18, right?
until she's 18. So, like, it would be very
Hey,
hard
you know,
to.
you know what on her 18th birthday you can do? You can publish a book.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh dear.
Mini Cheese Mouse says, "What about great kids and teens books?"
There we go.
So another graphic history, although it's not it is a memoir, I guess. Another graphic memoir, John Lewis's March trilogy. John Lewis was one of the civil rights leaders who he was involved in the Nashville civil rights movement as well as the broader civil rights movement in the American South. Later went on to serve in Congress. I recommend that graphic novel trilogy strongly. You can buy it as a box set as a gift. My daughter is 9 and she's about halfway through it. We started on it a couple weeks ago. There is some intense violence in there. But it's accurate depictions of historical atrocity, which I feel like are
You get a
contextually important for
pass.
understanding our situation. Now, if you're from Scotland, it might not be as important for your kids to understand that, but for when I take my kid to a talk with one of the people in that book speaking, it helps her understand why it's important for her to pay attention to the talk, why we're going to see this person who might not be alive in 10 years when she's older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gordon says, "Have you seen Pinball: A Graphic History of the Silver Ball?" Yes, I actually have it on the table over there. I have not read that whole thing yet.
Yet.
Well, the problem is there's this great podcast called the Silver Ball Chronicles, which does deep dives into all these elements of pinball history. And so reading a book that's a broad overview of pinball history after listening to, like, I don't know, 200 or 300 hours of hyper in-depth slices of pinball history, like, it's probably a great introduction for somebody who is completely unfamiliar with pinball history, but like I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I know like 90% of this because like there's not like it's well illustrated, it seems well written, but I just haven't been able to get through it because I feel like
I know it all already.
Yeah, it's just a less in-depth version of my existing reading or research or whatever.
I mean,
but
that's
yeah,
reasonable, I guess.
it's just, I don't know. I only have so much time for reading. But yeah, not a bad suggestion for somebody who has not listened to hundreds of hours of pinball podcasts.
I don't have the guy you're streaming with followed. What's his Twitch name? This is the first non-Hermitcraft stream of... Funnily enough, Joe is a hermit.
I am.
This is Joe Hills. of Hermitcraft fame.
Howdy.
Is fame the right word to use, Joe? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Neither of us know. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, one of my friends always introduces me as America's sweetheart, Joe Hills.
I mean, do you like that? Is that a thing you want me to encourage, or?
I mean, honestly, I don't have time to figure out if I like it or not. It's just there are certain things that just happen, and I'm just like I don't want. If I decide I don't like this, then I have to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I decide I don't have time to care, I don't have to do anything about it, and I don't have time to care.
Have limited time for reading, probably only about 80-ish years. Yeah. I didn't connect the dots, kept thinking it was someone else named Joe. I mean, there are other people named Joe, but this one is specifically Joe Hills.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I'm at PAX, people always introduce me as, this is Joe Hills. He played Harshnag the Grim on Dice Camera Action.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, which one are you more famous for is the question. How many people know you as Joe Hills, the what's it player?
Yeah. Well, what's funny though too is that usually when that happens, somebody else in the group that I've been hanging out with will go, "Oh, he wasn't he?"
Oh God!
Like they've been hanging out with me all weekend, and they're just like, "Oh, I just thought he did Minecraft stuff, but wait, he was in a thing I liked too."
He was in a thing I liked. Yeah, yeah. I was just telling Joe that my students know both of you and being fans. They nearly screamed in my ears when I told them you was Joe. Yeah. No, I can see how that would be a thing. The fact that other people run into other people who are fans, just kind of is a weird thing for me. It's just sort of like, hey, this thing that you do, like other people like it too. I'm like, really? Huh.
Did you know other people would enjoy things? Could you comprehend that?
It's like when that kid told me Mumbo Jumbo was a Minecraft player, and I had to go, that's interesting. Never heard of him.
You haven't heard of him. He plays Minecraft.
Yeah, it was surreal. Absolutely surreal.
Oh boy. Oh man. I took my kid on a hike, and the kids would not stop talking about the Empire server. And they're just like, have you been to the black market? You need to go to the black market. If you go to where the llamas are and you dig a hole, or there might already be a hole. But anyway, like, there's a black market. You need to go. And I'm just like, okay, children, like, talk amongst yourselves. Like, don't drag me into your Empire's nonsense.
Talk, like, stop talking to me about work. I'm not here to work, okay?
Yeah.
It's just, it's like, children talking about Minecraft and then talking about other hermits is like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess it's worse because your kids, the kids that you are speaking to, know who you are.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they never knew that. Why is that so adorable? I mean, it is fairly adorable. Kids can be adorable. They can also be obnoxious. Megs has resubscribed for 20 months. Thank you very much. I also find it weird to find out the friends of mine watch the same YouTube channels. Yeah, no. It's bizarre. Your 8-year-old is so excited about the crossover. I think we're all kind of just like in a weird place with it at the moment. I think we're tired. I know we're all exhausted right now. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, you guys have been running around trying to like win the World Cup. And so I could see like that's a big field.
I mean, personally, I haven't been trying to win the World Cup.
Oh, well.
Like, really,
you know,
really,
a lot of people don't realize that
thing.
Rendog and Asuma are actually both professional footballers on England.
Oh, do they not?
No.
Yeah, I suppose that would be a bit awkward for them.
Yeah.
It baffles me that people like the things I like, to be honest. So I understand when people are just like, you like my things?
Mhm.
I get it. I don't understand it, but I get it. No wonder England only managed to draw with the US. Look, I was tired, okay? I didn't perform my best. Like I got other
Cleo,
stuff
we asked
going
you to get
on.
out there and play your best, and you didn't. And
I mean, I tried. I'm just
That
not
was-
very good at football
yeah,
because I don't even know what the rules are. If I'm
you
being
should watch
honest.
Ted Lasso. He doesn't know what the rules are. It's a great show.
What do you mean none of them wear scream masks?
Apparently, there's a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called like Bend It Like Wrexham or something, about the guy who made or who was Deadpool, and the guy who makes Mythic Quest bought a soccer team in Wales called Wrexham, and apparently they've been filming like a documentary about it the whole time, and this first season of that documentary is out. So I'm kind of curious to go watch that because I like Deadpool and I like Mythic Quest.
Yeah. People really do basket weaving underwater. Well, no, there was
You
And
have to
Evelyn-
weave baskets underwater to keep the reeds from drying out.
You're
Yeah,
not
no, but
in a
if you've-
scuba suit. You have like a tub of water with reeds in it.
I've seen precisely one video from Evan and Caitlin, and they said it was a bad idea to do it completely underwater because they did it in scuba gear because reeds float.
Yeah.
And things get so engorged with water that they don't fit properly anymore. So yes, it needs to be done slightly underwater, but not completely underwater.
Yeah.
But they did it because of the underwater basket weaving joke. So, you know.
Yeah.
That tracks.
But also, if people want to do basket weaving underwater, fine. It's performance art. And it only cost them $7,000 to make a basket, yeah. Because they had to buy all the scuba equipment.
You can't rent scuba equipment?
Oh, they could, but they chose not to.
It's tax deductible? It's like I'm using it in an episode. It's tax deductible.
I mean, yeah, I suppose it is. I hadn't considered that, but
Yeah, they're like, okay, we got to burn $7,000 in a tax deductible way for the end of the year. What if we buy a bunch of scuba gear?
oh yeah,
Why
they
would
did.
we buy-
They did choose not to write it off because they felt it was dodgy. They did mention that in the video.
What?
I know.
I think they're lying.
I don't know. I would think they would own it as people that I've watched for a while.
Well, like at that point though, you would just rent it. There's no reason to buy scuba gear like that.
I mean, if you
Except-
wanted to maybe go on a scuba diving holiday.
You would a lot of times rent scuba gear when you got there.
Flying somewhere with your own scuba gear is like a whole hassle.
Who said they were flying?
Okay, so putting all your scuba gear in a giant steamer trunk and getting in a steamboat and crossing the Atlantic is a hassle.
I like the fact that you've just decided cars don't exist and there are
Why
other
would
places to
cars
go
exist in this scenario, Cleo? That doesn't have any bearing on what we're talking about.
Obviously not.
No. Obviously. But like if you're scuba diving on vacation, most of the places that you would go on vacation are not necessarily easy driving distance.
Mm.
Unless you like live in the Florida Keys or something.
I don't know. I don't know where they live. I don't personally know where every YouTuber lives because if I did, I would know where all the hermits live and then I would avoid those places like the plague.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see if I've talked about all the books I was going to talk about.
Mhm.
We talked about the Diving Universe series by Christine Catherine Rush. We talked
Mhm.
about the March trilogy by John Lewis, Two Gentlemen of Lebowski by Adam Bertocci, The Bobiverse by Dennis C. Taylor, Ducks by Kate Beaton. Okay, there's two others that I haven't gotten to, but I've suggested them in the past.
Mhm.
So, one of them is How to Invent Everything by Ryan North,
Which is here, literally. I'm pointing at it.
Yeah, and my
It's
copy
under
is
my
in the room
camera.
somewhere too. Yeah, it's a great book. I recommend that one to anyone who has young kids or is going to have kids soon, because it explains how everything important in society works, like mechanically or chemically. And if you have a kid that's like, "Dad, how come airplanes have this on them?" or whatever, it's in that book.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just great for dealing with kids. Second, I was going to recommend was Constellation Games by Leonard Richardson, which is aliens show up at Earth and want to share their knowledge with us. And it's told from the point of view of a video game reviewer who decides that he is going to review a bunch of alien video games to help understand the cultures of this constellation of planets or whatever they call
Mhm.
themselves. And he ends up going on an adventure. But it's really cool in that it, you know, the author creates a bunch of made up video games that would make sense for other species but would not necessarily make sense to us,
Okay.
you know. And
Okay, you're gonna have to give me an example here.
oh, I'm having a hard time thinking of something like offhand. But
Okay.
like things were like a lot of the games he's like, I'm not sure that you would consider this a game because you wander around a city for a while everything's closed, but you're supposed to feel something. You know,
Huh.
like it's just like what these other cultures might consider a game or whatever is also part of.
Yeah.
And that's not an actual example from the book. That's just me trying to like think of something offhand. I haven't read the book for a few years.
You're trying to brain it through. That's fine.
Yeah. But like also one of the problems he runs into is it's like, okay, so this species is basically 40-foot long kelp.
Mm-hmm.
And so any interface they have for playing a video game, they don't actually have eyes. They experience the world through electrical signals in the water, right?
Right.
So he's just like, okay, so I'm playing a port of one of their video games to another planet for a species that's like lizard people that at least have two hands and eyes.
Right.
And like, so if your whole species is a bunch of stationary 40-foot long kelp, what a video game isn't necessarily going to be a platformer, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what sort of video games and how evolution would work on that planet. But, you know,
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of the book is about like, you know, him trying, because basically Earth just gets this huge info dump where it's like aliens show up and they say, "Hey, we're here.
We were always here."
Well, the thing is, it's like we discovered your
Hey, Electra.
planet. Like a probe discovered your planet like 200 years ago, and we saw that there were people there. Most of the time, when we discover that there's people on a planet, by the time we get there, they've already nuked themselves to death. So we're really excited. This is the first time we've gotten to meet anybody new in a long time.
Ooh. If you were thinking about nuking yourselves to death, don't.
Yeah. And the aliens are like, "Do you guys want help with this like global warming thing?" You know, and everybody's like,
God,
"No, we're
yes.
good." And
Really?
they're like, well, the governments are all like, these aliens are probably a bunch of jerks. It's probably an invasion, right? And so, yeah, so a lot of the book is just like, but the aliens basically said, "Hey, we'll share all of our knowledge with y'all for the most part, like about our histories and cultures and stuff. And there's too much information for people to go through in a reasonable amount of time, you know. And so
What is this book again?
it's called Constellation Games
Constellation Games.
by Leonard Richardson. Let me pull up.
To be fair, I think if humanity went around the world and was like around the universe, I think we would go, hey, let's tell you everything about ourselves and let's help you out.
Yeah.
The concept of like us not trusting other people is like accurate. Thank
gonna
you,
post a
Electra,
link
for
to
the
that if you don't mind.
6-month resub. No, please do. That sounds really fun.
But yeah, it's just about trying to understand people through the art they create, even if those people
Yeah.
are 40-foot tall kelp.
That's fair.
And then there's another book by the same author that I really like, called Situation Normal.
Mm-hmm.
That one only came out like a year or two ago.
Right.
And let's see, I've actually got that one here. Situation Normal is like, if you like Firefly, you'll like this book.
Right.
Basically, the premise is that this this rich kid from some weird culture that a lot of people don't encounter grew up watching basically like DVD rips of space westerns and decided to go become a smuggler like Mal from Firefly, right?
Right. Okay.
And so this person runs this smuggling ship like Mal from Firefly would, and everybody thinks that they're the stupidest person in the world, but they keep somehow like getting through situations that would get everybody else killed, and like basically it's like this is the only captain anyone's ever served under who insists that everybody split the pay equally on the jobs. And so everybody's just like, oh, okay, you know what is kind of like it is that Gentleman Pirate thing that came out last year.
I've not seen anything like that.
I forget what it's called, but there was this thing with Rhys Darby maybe. But that came out after this book. But yeah, there's a thing where this pirate captain is trying to like treat everybody with respect and fairness because he thinks that's the best way to run a crew, and his crew thinks he's an idiot who should be murdering everybody all the time.
But it seems to work, and they don't like him being murdered, so...
Yeah, but they don't want to individually be murdered, and they're getting paid better than usual, so they're willing to like give him a little bit of a flack, right? Our flag means death, somebody says. But anyway, so the premise is that this incredibly well-meaning paladin-esque smuggler captain ends up in the middle of this escalating war situation where these major powers are going at it, and basically it's basically a book about a bunch of smugglers, draft dodgers, and people who don't. It's a book about a bunch of people who don't want to be in the middle of a war, finding themselves in the middle of the beginning of a war, and trying to figure out if they can avert it, diffuse it, or escape it. Right. So, it is definitely not a book that glamorizes war. Quite the opposite. But it's really funny too. It's
Shut up, JT. Anyway, it's been 2 hours now, Joe.
Yeah, I should probably get going.
Yeah. It's all good.
Okay.
Thank you for the video, not video.
Book suggestions?
The book suggestions, the book recommendations.
See if we actually have something to talk about. We only spend 15 minutes of our 2 hours being really morose.
I guess. I
Yeah.
guess. Okay, what is bullet journaling? Bullet journaling is you make your own planner filled with all the stuff that is useful to you. I have a lot of my budgeting stuff in there. I have all my monthly and weekly planners. I have my video scheduling stuff. So, yeah. And I made money. Well, I didn't make money.
Yay.
I saved money. Different thing.
Yay.
But I
Well,
also-
you get to hold it up and say, I'm number one with a bullet.
I
Journal.
am. Hang on. I am a number one with a bullet journal. There you go.
Yep.
I saved all this money because let's see if I can find the umbrellas again. So when I mean savings challenges, I have to figure out how to save certain amounts of money because otherwise I would spend it all. So umbrellas
Yeah, umbrellas.
with numbers on them.
Okay, so normally what Cleo and I do at this point is we break off from our joint call and we talk to our streams on our own.
Mhm.
So thanks for hanging out, Cleo. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself today. Thank you, Joe.
Alrighty,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye. Disconnect. Okay. So, who does we send to? Oh gosh, there's so many people on. I'm going to send you to Impulse. So, thanks for turning up, guys. Thanks for being awesome. And I'll see you lot next time.